Friends, we are very happy to inform you that e-modules are prepared for B.Ed program at Telangana by the School of Education, Osmania University under Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme MHRD New Delhi. It's indeed our pleasure to share with the teacher educators and the prospective teachers and get maximum benefit out of it. It's a first of its attempt by us. We continue to add many more such lessons to share with you all.
Hello, today we're going to talk about what are called the natural functions of a school, and as you can see from the word itself you can derive the meaning. It talks about naturalism, natural environments, how the idea of being one with natural elements around you and nature should be an important part of school and schooling. This is what natural functions are about. So today's objectives will be met, and the participants will be able to define various aspects of natural functions. They will be able to explain and summarize how natural functions can be adapted into their classroom and reflect on how they can make independent and appropriate choices related to natural functions of schools in their classroom. By the end of this module, participants will understand natural functions, how applications can be created out of natural functions. They will demonstrate competence in various aspects of natural functions and explore various avenues for applying these functions, and articulate the implications, how these functions are advantageous or disadvantageous for the learner, and how these natural processes as functions of schools can be evaluated in various processes of learning in the school. Now, the model of naturalistic learning, or naturalism as it called, is concerned with natural self or the real self, and this particular school of thought contends that ultimate reality is matter and not mind or ideology. If you remember, one of the conservative functions also talked about matter and spirit, but here in natural function they only value matter. In the conservative function they understood matter so that they could develop spiritual confidence and engage the child in spiritual development, self-actualization. But here the proponents of naturalistic learning, they only kind of attest to that matter is real, matter is related to nature, and whatever exists in nature is what is real, and mind and ideology are not real. And this is closely linked to existentialism. This is a philosophy that was developed in the West, and phenomenology, especially from the Eastern and Indian traditions. Phenomenology is associated with the study of experience. So according to naturalism, material world, the nature is reality, and learning happens in the context of nature only. So material world is governed by a system of natural laws. As we know, creation, nature has its own laws, and man, human being, who is a part of natural world, should follow them. So according to the naturalism theory, humans are not above nature. Humans are a part of nature, and they have to function for nature, with nature, in the gamut of the kind of laws set up by nature. Humans cannot try to be cannot use their ego and function from their ego and try to act superior to nature. So in the model of naturalistic learning, they have very high regard for nature and natural realities. So there are two principles of natural functions of school, and they would be based on one. According to naturalism, genetics of the student plays a role, Second is the environment in which the student grows up. And currently this second one is called as eugenetics, or the eugenetics and the epigenetics. Okay, so true genetics and the environment that kind of impacts the genetics. Now environment is described in two ways: the material or physical environment, or the mental and psychosocial environment. Both of these are considered to be environment. The environment which is around us and the environment which is inside us. Our emotions, our thoughts are the mental psychosocial environment, and our physical environment around us is the external environment. And naturalists believe that genetic disposition as well as the environment in which the child grows up impacts overall well-being of the child and child's conditioning in life. There are two types of naturalism: methodical and metaphysical. In methodical naturalism, science is to be done without reference to supernatural causes. So science is looked upon as a methodical assumption, and events are fully explainable by natural causes without reference to supernatural. This is just like our modern science. Then there is a metaphysical naturalism, means that cosmos consists of objects studied by natural sciences and does not include any immaterial realities, and is the basis for methodological naturalism. So this metaphysical naturalism kind of informs the methodological naturalism. And then types of naturalism, there are three types of naturalism. One is biological naturalism, one is mechanical naturalism, one is physical naturalism. Now the physical naturalism takes into consideration the external environment, the outside environment, the environment that we are in. The biological naturalism takes care of the internal environment, the psychosocial environment and the body. And the mechanical naturalism takes into consideration the properties of matter, like how matter functions, what are the characteristics of matter, what are the properties of matter. All that is a part of mechanical naturalism. The physical naturalism holds that human life is governed by laws of physics, because the external environment decides our movement and the physical world. The mechanical naturalism believes man is merely a machine, because the material decides our functioning. Our mechanical abilities, how we move our hands and legs, are also like a machine. Biological naturalism believes that man has evolved to his present state from lower forms of life, so evolution will be a part of biological naturalism. And there are several natural functions. According to naturalism, nature is final reality. All things originate from matter, all things go back to matter. And mind is functioning brain, and brain is matter. So it is from this school of thought that the brain got importance. All types of mental activities like imagination, thinking, reasonings, they are attributed to the brain. Brain is like a focal point in the natural function of a school, and the entire universe is governed by laws of nature, which are unchangeable, and science reveals the mysteries of nature. Hence only that knowledge that is derived from science is true. So anything other than science, naturalism does not believe in it. Naturalism does not believe in God or spirit, and therefore there doesn't give importance to religion. There are no higher or eternal values. It does not believe in spirituality like the conservative functions of the school did. It does not kind of value any particular ideal for human life. It says humans create values. There is no value outside of the human. humans create value when they interact with the environment they are in. And follow nature is their greatest slogan, and they want to align the nature with the child. So they believe that natural environment is required for a child to grow and develop properly, and nature is used in two senses. To remind you again, one is the physical nature, second is the internal nature, the tendencies, impulses, instincts of the child, with which a particular child is born and kind of picks up from their home environment, their friends, all the conditioning. Now the child, however, occupies a central position in the educative process. Natural functions allow it to be child-centric, and it believes that the child should be educated according to their own nature. You should not do anything that is against the child's nature. It is the child himself rather than the educator or the school, the book, subjects. The child is central to learning in this paradigm. Unnecessary interference on the part of parents or teachers should be avoided in this. The child is central to learning. They say leave the child alone in nature. Children should be treated as children and not as small adults. It believes that instead of imposing adult ideas on them, let them have the opportunity to formulate their ideas through their own experiences. Let them bring their own experiences to the fore. Don't give them adult experiences. Don't tell them something from your point of view, because they are children. They really like freedom in education. They believe that children can grow only in freedom, and freedom should be the point around which everything, all learning should revolve. Instincts, the instincts of the child remain the main instruments of education here. Innate curiosity, creativity, all these things should be explored, and child must be engaged fully to modify the behavior. The animal instincts that a human being has, for that to turn into human behavior, they believe that child should be fully engaged. And they really believe in sensory perception. So they believe that senses are gateways of knowledge, and real knowledge comes through senses. So for them, sensory experiences are important. That is why they give a lot of importance to matter, right? Matter and senses are very closely related. Whatever we understand through our senses appears to us as matter. So for them, sensory perception is very important. The merits of this system are that there is no artificial environment, so children grow up very well. The second advantage is instinct, impulses and emotions form the basis of learning. So main instrument of education is around the feeling, the instinct, the emotion of the child. Child-centric approach is one strong point. The child is most important, and another important thing is to treat children as children and not have adult-like expectations for them. So there is not much pressure on the child. Now the disadvantages of the system are that true education takes place when nature, power, inclination are allowed to develop freely with a minimum of guidance. Kind of this, the whole merit around the natural development of the child is really, really phenomenal. And senses are gateways, so they allow the child's training of the senses, since all learning occurs through sensory perception. So in conclusion, we can say that naturalism has made learning very child-centric, free from rigidity, interference, discipline, and it kind of leads way to new psychological paradigms of education. It allows for self-expression, alignment with nature, makes learning child-centric, allows child to self-learn, engages the child's senses in learning. Now the disadvantages. The disadvantages are that it ignores spiritual development, it totally neglects the psycho-spiritual development, it only takes into consideration present needs of the child, ignores the future needs. Then naturalism leaves the child purely to natural consequences, and if a child doesn't develop properly, then what happens? The naturalism doesn't have an answer for this. Naturalism in some cases requires that teachers have worked on themselves greatly and don't bring their ego to the table, and because the teacher has to take its secondary position, so it needs practice. Then it allows complete freedom for the child from the very beginning of the child's life to all through their education process, but children need some guidance. So naturalism is not creating a middle path. Naturalism is on the extreme. It's saying leave the child alone. That can be a disadvantage. Then it attaches too much importance to animal nature of human being, like instincts, impulses, emotions, and again it kind of ignores the spiritual and cultural values of life. It doesn't focus on culture at all. It gives importance to heredity of the child and neglects the influence of environment on basic nature. So it talks about environment being important, but it doesn't allow for the teacher to do much to create that environment. So that is a disadvantage. So naturalism and curriculum, what are the applications of natural functions? It makes the curriculum child-centered, based in sensory training, and there's a lot of physical activities, language, mathematics, manual work like carpentry, trade, moral education. Naturalists do not want a fixed curriculum. They want it to be child-centered, full of educational activities. It thinks literacy subjects are useless. So they want their curriculum to be full of games, sports, biology, physics, language, history, geography, things like that. And physical education and health training and home science, all this kind of stuff, basic life skills. And it says teachers should behave sympathetically, affectionately towards children. It considers nature the supreme teacher. Teacher becomes the observer. Teacher doesn't interfere in the child's process. The teacher needs a strong understanding about child. Teacher is a stage setter, teacher is the gardener, but teacher allows the child to kind of take charge and decide their own path. And the method of teaching is learning by doing. Children have to do everything. It's a direct method, and the teacher engages the child according to their interests, capacities. Direct experience with nature, and naturalism is against the bookish model. It's against that whole conservative function. It doesn't like at all. It is against that form of learning. So there is no punishment at all. There is full freedom. It believes in free society. It allows the child to perform, learn however they want. They also assume that the child has no knowledge of good and bad, but suffers pain when he or she makes a mistake, and pleasure when they do something right. And this is what tells the child whether the child should be doing something. If they get pleasure, they will do it more. If they get pain, they will drop it. So separate punishment is not to be given to child. And with that we kind of conclude the natural functions segment.